AOG, we don't date. If you feel you're ready to get married, you pray about it. God confirms that she is the one. You approach the pastor to ask him to facilitate a meeting.
Spiritually, you are that stubborn.
9
That God had to give you 9 dreams.
uNkulunkulu akhulume kawu-9.
Kawu-9.
The purpose of God is greater than us, and so we have found ourselves right in the middle of purpose.
Yeah.
And so our entire marriage is purpose.
Oh,
After we get engaged, my wife says to me, "What has the Lord called you to do?" God is so intentional.
Yeah.
all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. This is Love, Marriage, and Family Podcast. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you for the subscribes. Thank you for the likes, the comments. And one of the things that we love most, about this podcast is bringing people that we love talking to. People that we also know that you're going to love hearing from and certainly even interacting with. On their own socials. And my name is Mo, and of course, I'm not alone. I'm with this beautiful, vivacious,
Yeah.
beautiful. Her name is Pindi, ladies and gentlemen.
Sweetheart, please stop the drama. Can you just chill? My word. Guys, thank you so much. Welcome to Love, Marriage, and Family Podcast. Thank you so much for your subscriptions. We are just way over 25,000 subscribers. Eh? Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing, hey? Started from 2,000 subscribers.
In June
last year.
Wow.
That was cool.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the love. We are hearing where you are connecting from. Others are outside South Africa, and you've been sharing, stories on how this podcast has been an amazing.
Also sharing stories about language. We see you.
No.
They'd be like, guys, can you please stick to English so we can...
We are gonna
in Australia so we can hear you.
So I will promise, I've got 2 people from the Eastern Cape here.
And 2 people from KwaZulu-Natal.
So sizokwenza show. Exactly. Sizokwenza show ukuthi abathethe isiXhosa, guys. Because amaXhosa ane-attendance. Yokuvela athethe isiXhosa nje in the
Look who's talking.
in the middle of the people. But guys, thank you so much. We love you so much. And let us introduce our guests for today.
Oh my gosh.
You want to have the pleasure?
I'll definitely have the pleasure.
Go ahead.
From my home province.
Yes.
Oh.
And from my home.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Msomi.
This crossover.
Nomdai.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a family of Nomdai. Oh, Nomdai.
Yeah.
And kanje, mamping.
Don't start with her.
Hey, Nkosi yami.
She's going to go on.
Hey, Nkosi yami. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. And we have a whole intro here of you, but I think that it's going to take a lot of time.
But also, I think I need to apologize in advance.
Okay.
Some people don't like too many laughs. So in advance, we are sorry.
Because we're going to laugh.
They're in trouble.
Because we're going to laugh.
We are wearing our serious garments today.
I mean,
Yeah.
Guys,
pastors.
In the presence
we
of
just
ministers.
in the presence of ministers.
No,
We just
guys.
have to be serious, my
I
God.
apologize in advance. More, please don't laugh too much.
no, I'm going to shame.
Because other people have been saying, Mo, can you stop laughing?
Oh, but
All right.
Are they sanctioning your laugh?
They are.
Hyper
Now I
serious.
need to stop being me. You know what I'm saying? But anyway.
No, we go. So pata kahle this time.
So it's patagak.
Yes.
So
Guys,
it's patagak,
That
whatever
is
that
Zam.
means.
please, welcome to
Thank you.
Love,
Thank you.
Marriage, and Family Podcast. Yadlala. Guys, welcome, man. This is such a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
I think off air we've said we have never seen Mr. Msomi, obviously, in such a platform with you.
Yes.
And I think it's one of the reasons we're like, we've
We
got
want
to
them.
have them here. For that reason.
Well kept secret.
We feel the secret.
Can I have that intro on this podcast as well?
Yes.
Spiritual in Dondon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, please.
Go ahead.
Physically handsome.
Yes.
Don't stop now.
Intellectual.
Yes, continue.
Kind-hearted. Follower of Christ. Truly is.
I love it.
What?
Find this again.
Caramel Dondon.
Guys, Guys, thank you so much. It is indeed our pleasure to be sitting with you. But I think a question that's always maybe in my mind, because I'm curious. I was like, okay, Mdantsane. Surely abekho abantu bakaMsomi eMdantsane.
You'll be amazed.
And I was wondering, ukuthi how, like, nihlangana kuphi kanjani? How did this come together?
Sure.
And it looks beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Geez, the year is 2009, I believe. And I go to, if Nyayazi AOG, I'll just use that phrasing for now so that I don't expose the whole.
Yes.
Yeah. Quarterlies for sisters.
Yes.
Where we wear our black and whites.
Yes.
And I arrive Sunday morning for church. And then the sisters that I am giving lifts to are like, Musa's back from vets. Musa's back from vets. And they want to go greet this Musa, and me being a serious sister from the Eastern Cape.
Musa for what?
You know, like, Musa for what? We've come here for sisters services, and we've come to be empowered. Siyakolwa, you know, 6 a.m. here. And Brother Musa umile phaya, towering over, you know, and he claims that I was not very nice. I mean, I was rushing to be with my Lord.
Yes.
So these sisters are all like,
important things.
Musa, wow, Musa. And I've always been that type that wants to burst male egos.
Yeah.
Kind of like, you know, being a feminist, I kind of enjoyed it. So I'm like, if they are showing you glory, I'm going to show you the opposite of that glory. So I just greeted and I moved along. I don't know your recount of that story. Because I was not rude, I was just...
Yes.
I think he's still recovering.
All I know, the work of the blood.
Yes.
Yabon?
Yes.
Usakhipha abantu ishori,
Yeah.
burst male egos.
Yes.
You know, Jesus had to work. That
Yes.
blood had to work. But
Yes.
it's an accurate account.
Yes.
The sisters were happy to see me. It had been a long time. I was happy to see them.
Yeah.
And Datibana Nemdantsane 101.
Yes. Watshintsha yonke into.
Yatsho ngale Mdantsane 101. Didn't even greet.
Ube intercede.
And walked off.
Ube.
Yabon? So, ngazibuza ukuthi,
nobody
and
here.
then usisi lo. And so that's how we met.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, we actually didn't have a conversation until 2012.
2012 for the very first time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because though we are in the same church, our church is so big, so huge that you can go for years or for a long time without seeing or bumping into the same person twice. Although I had seen him on stages ministering, funny enough, he came and ministered at our local in 2010.
Okay.
And a friend of mine from PE,
PE.
from
Respect.
Beautiful
from
people.
GQ, wonderful Maponis and all that stuff, who was right there in the service with me as he was delivering the message, and I was preaching about God, the God of excellence, right, which is part of the things that we are now, you know, we found that we have in common. And then she said, if ever there is a male version, she was like, okay, don't get mad at me. Because disclaimers were very necessary around me during those times. She's like, but if ever there was a male version of you or a twin for Ncebekazi on earth, it would be that guy who was preaching tonight.
Oh, wow.
Because his thinking patterns, his delivery of the word, just everything about him just gave me you. And she'd known me since our high school days. So yes, that's 2010. Then it's 2011. He's living wherever he is at. And 2012, we have our very first conversation at, I remember September. It was his cousin's wedding, and again, it's just like a very brief conversation. Then the very next year, he texts me, "Happy birthday!" A little birdie told me it's somebody's birthday, happy birthday, and me being sister, and I'm like, "Who told you it's my birthday?"
Yes. Who told you can text me?
Where did you get my number?
Where did you get
Where did you get my number?
No, how he got my number. You know these brothers from church are very slick because he had planned a youth thingy in July.
Oh.
And so he'd requested my number from somebody to say, thank you for serving God so well.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Nina.
Strategy lapha.
Hey, sisters. Sisters. He said, thank you for I was MC. Thank you for MCing so well to
She blessed us.
Yeah.
Now you were blessed.
Yes.
I'm
sure he was blessed.
Yeah.
She blessed
And
us.
then
That's how you ended up here.
how do you crack this? Because Hey, sisters ngiyabona
Had not.
bengangeneki. Like, take us through that skill.
Aibo.
Of really cracking. Hey,
Skill.
high skill.
I love that. That's the KZN connection. Skill.
Oh, wow.
Bekudingeka skill.
Oh, wow.
You know,
We call it expertise. In
Yeah,
this.
even better. I love you.
No.
You guys are so good. Guys, can
it
you
went there.
Was that I get skill?
You know, because
You know, to be honest, it didn't require skill.
Yeah.
Didn't require expertise. You realize that beneath every surface is a human being.
yeah.
And communication, interestingly enough, is one of the most important tenets of marriage.
Yeah.
So communicating with a person at a human level, not because you're trying to win them over, but just at a human level, you realize that, geez, I've actually deprived myself from 2009 to 2012.
That's
There's a
long
great
time.
conversation to be had here, you know. And it was very brief on that day. She was with a group of friends who needed to go. But we had a very short conversation. And deep down, I knew that I wanted another one.
Short and
But
powerful
we're from the
conversation.
AOG. We're not friends. We sort of happened to and so we can have that short conversation.
Yeah.
Mind you, I was a youth leader at church,
Yeah.
overseeing a region with about 68 local assemblies.
Whoa.
Sure.
Big region.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm well known in the church. I love young people. She's a young person in the church. But we just don't make time to connect on that level.
Yeah.
You know, but I see her and I believe in her ministry. I love her ministry. But it takes us until 2012 where we start conversing. And as they say, the rest is history. In fact, interestingly enough, I think it was 2012 or 13. We are at our biggest convention, which is a regional convention. She's not there. Now, the previous year, I'd said thank you for serving us so well.
What are you going to say? This.
Now she's not here this time. And I look, I don't know why is Upinki at the time. Did Upinki Dololo?
Yeah.
So Mak Pumingonza, I bump into her brother. Oh, should we be going there?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah. This is that safe
Where
space.
you've gone. It's
I
whatever.
promised myself not to go there.
No, we're the only
but-
4 people here.
For us.
But I bump into a brother who is very close to me at the time, who's a co-leader in the youth work. And I say to him, hey, I didn't see Pinky during this
So he felt my
convention.
absence.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
course.
It was notable.
I thought you said the church was huge. You could not even notice anyone, but
It was notable.
he did notice
I
you.
did notice. So I asked him, where's Pinky? I didn't see Pinky. And he says to me, Msomi, Pinky's in New York. So ngithi mina kahle mfowethu. New York work? And he says to me, no, holiday. So I laugh. Okay, and you'll understand why I laugh. So I sit down in my suit and I sit on the toe and I laugh at him, tears rolling down my face. The brother loves my wife.
Oh.
I'm aware of that. Now he tells me, Guti, she's gone to New York on holiday. So I say, my brother, you're in trouble. You're in love with a woman who can go to New York
Aibo.
on holiday. When ungayi, neighboring country. So I laugh at him. At the time, I didn't know she was going to be my wife.
Yeah.
So I tease him and I laugh and I walk away laughing, crying,
Brothers
laughing.
labeled me, but hey, that one, she's probably high maintenance. I'm like, what high maintenance? I'm maintaining myself.
Yeah, exactly.
So
You know
you're
what I mean?
chill.
I didn't know she was going to be my wife.
Sure.
One of the most beautiful things I found about the very first conversation that we had in 2012, and I don't know if I ever told you this, because I was always in a world where people took me so seriously, because people don't get to see me in a social setting or to chill with me. He was the first person. Do you remember that you called me a monkey? Imagine first conversation with somebody.
Why are you going to
And it's
say
like-
that on camera?
Call me a monkey.
How did that
Okay, how
happen?
did you get there now?
He said, you're such a clown. I don't even remember what I'd said. And I'm like, "Yihlonishwa kangaka, well, bandla." And here comes this brother calling me a monkey and a
It is
clown.
that skill.
All in. So those are the expertise. You know? Because then for me, I was like,
Monkey.
Like
this is the
monkey
first.
clown, because people take me so seriously that I can never really let my head down
Yeah.
around most people, because, and they're right, I'm very serious, but I mean, everything has context.
Yeah.
Sebatung.
Yeah.
How can I not be
You are
serious in
relaxed,
church?
yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
everything is, and okay, there's an aspect I can't go into because it would take 2 hours. Okay,
Sure.
but I did have questions because I got hints, right, that he was the one. I got hints. I
Yeah.
got those hints. But my conversations with God were like, this guy is so serious. Most people in church think that I'm always serious all the time.
Yes,
He's
but
always in suits. Hey, he's this serious, stiff-necked lawyer. And Lord, you know me in my social settings. I cannot. I cannot
not
be
the one.
No, you know,
What did you guys call me?
Huh?
What
We
did you
called
guys
him
call me?
Suits. You know the
Oh,
series, the
Lord,
lawyer
yes,
series,
Suits,
Suits?
yeah,
And
yeah.
he would like top model in church, and me and my friends would be like, oh, I would top model. Okay. So literally I had those conversations like, God, I don't see it because he's so serious, and you know me, I need to have fun.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, he calls me a clown and a monkey, and that's your confirmation.
Exactly. This is the fun you were looking for.
Yes, because then I cracked up laughing at night thinking, no brother in this church has ever disrespected me because, yay.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is so sweet.
Loud laugh
though.
it was.
I fell in love with being called a monkey. That's weird.
Yeah, but I mean, you love fun. Monkeys love to have fun. There's you know.
Pindi.
No.
Ngivumelana nawe njalo, Phindi.
No. I'm saying.
And my varsity nickname was Boswell, by the way.
Oh gosh.
Everything, ngangiconnecta.
So lento kade ikhona.
But from what I know, he was not the only guy.
A string, because in our church,
Yeah.
anybody, and I write this on Facebook, like anybody in my church, people can be like, "Ini mini mini mo." I'm going to ask that one next week. Okay, she says no, "Ini mini mini mo."
Hi, boy, with respect.
Okay, no, okay.
Explain
hey,
it properly.
I'm-
Yeah, please unpack it.
It's not my world. So Teta, because you are the male, how does it happen?
No, so we don't date at church.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We didn't
Yeah.
date.
AOG
Yeah,
culture.
AOG, we don't date. If you feel you're ready to get married, you pray about it. God confirms that she is the one. You approach the pastor to ask him to facilitate a meeting.
Okay.
The pastor would facilitate the meeting, leave you guys to have time alone, so as to protect really the vulnerable, and in this instance, seen to be
Yeah.
the females.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then skill, expertise
Yeah.
would
Yes,
have to
comes
come into play.
yeah.
And normally, I don't know why, but normally ladies say they need time to go pray. Now, I must shock you and make you laugh, because me, expertise, skill, sasisenze konke.
Okay.
Udade akacelanga isikhathi sokuyothandaza. No, but we'll put it into context,
No,
and you'll understand it
Asithathe
when.
ukuthi wathandaza prior. Like,
Why say,
she's organized.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
beforehand.
He's
But
going to explain.
I'm gonna explain. She had known for years
Yeah.
before I knew.
Wow.
And so part of the beauty of why we don't actually talk since 2009 till 2012
Yeah.
is because along the way she knew.
Oh wow.
And so she was protecting what she knew.
Yeah.
Oh,
And she didn't want to influence
steer him.
what would happen next.
So
And
we in New York who say as
in case I was seeing things, because you know, you know one thing about God, right?
Yeah.
God will send you in the very direction where you say, I'll never. So me growing up in church, so I was always like, I rejected the fact that I get dreams, meaningful dreams. I get lots of them, right? So funny enough, just 2 weeks ago, I got chastised in a church service where I'm like, you need to accept that you're a dreamer and that your dreams are factual. So I was like, never me
Yes.
So I told myself, I'll never, ever. And guess what God did? And he teases me about this. Yes, but not just once, not twice, not 3 times a lady, not 4 times. And I have a sister of mine in PE. Oh, my word.
Beautiful. Those are beautiful people. Yeah.
A sister of mine in PE, and we started praying and fasting because I said, these dreams are bothering me because because I don't know much about the guy. I know that people like him a lot. He seems charismatic enough, but I mean, I honestly, also I was so busy that I didn't get time to socialize within the church. So I really couldn't have known him. So I said, these dreams are bothering me. The more we fasted and prayed, the more dreams I got, until I got 9 dreams. And this is his joke now. He says, spiritually, you are that stubborn.
9.
That God had to give you 9 dreams.
uNkulunkulu akhulume kawu-9.
Can I confess?
Yes.
Angikaze ngizumuntu odreama 9 times. Like the same dream.
No, yeah, so same dream towards him, but now different facets,
Versions.
different
Yeah.
versions
Yeah.
of it. And he says, he knew once. He didn't even dream. Yazi uThixo kodwa, yazi abanye ngathi bas he didn't even dream because after one of those trips, I think the New York one,
Yeah.
I came back and I'd heard that we are Paganyiso, by the way, in Konzwe.
Why, with who?
I didn't know. I heard that. So I learned, and this sister of mine from PE says, I've heard that Paganyiso Musa the following day, Did I not spend the whole night suspended?
Depressed.
Crying. I don't cry
That's
because I
reasonable.
believe in the motto, real niggas don't cry.
Yes.
I've lived by that all my life.
Yeah.
But that night, this real nigga cried the entire night.
Kahle, usukunyiswa nobani?
That's the thing.
Namuphi
So
sister
I'm
la?
imagining, probably umntwana waphi? Because
Yes.
my samatswana was like flames.
You know?
So I'm like, what is happening? Then on the following morning, which was Sunday morning, I'm invited to umpakamiso of somebody else. Okay, so we go and we attend. We get there, and that's the day that he knew. He tells me. We get there, and I see the brother Esizengai, and I see him right next to the brother, and now he's like suited up, and I'm like,
So
God.
now you can't tell who.
Yeah,
No, so I'm
ubani la?
thinking,
Ubani
no, in
osukumayo
my
la?
mind, I'm thinking both of them, kaloku, because I know ukuthi lo engaged. And I'm thinking both. And I'm like, Lord, you trust me that much with pain that you would have me come here and see this.
and witness
But
this.
also, I had a journal. So this is the part that he didn't get to share. I had a journal where I wrote all these dreams and all. And I was like, if people found this journal, they will swear that I'm crazy. Because I'm writing about a guy that they never even see me with, that I never even talk to, that I don't even know. So anyways, fast forward, Kupaganyiso, it turned out, because the guy was his best friend, they just used him as a, what do you call? As a decoy.
It's a decoy to
To
get
get
people
people
to come.
there. So they said, Kupaganyiso yena. But Kupaganyiso yena.
After all of that
Paganyiso-
pain.
I'm sure you were like, oh Lord.
No, but I was so mad after. I was like, I never want to cry
Yeah.
over a guy ever again, especially one that I don't even know. It made no sense to me. Anyways,
Oh, guys, this is so cool. This is really so
I
cool.
feel like, yes.
plus I had wanted to marry out of
Yes,
the church.
in fact, you.
I'd wanted to because I
wanted
felt
to.
like born here, raised here. So and I like him, he didn't see a wife here. I also felt like nobody here will be, because I'm multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
I'm not saying others are not, but sometimes when you in a specific
Yeah.
space, that's all that you see. And I knew that God had called me to understand the body of Christ differently.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, my husband is literally
Right
another
there.
me. Literally.
But also, I must say, I mean, just before we wrap up this aspect of it, God is so intentional.
Yeah.
Because prior to 2009, I'm at Wits. And we grew up in the AOG, we don't date here, and I get to Wits and I decide to listen, this journey between me and Christ is personal.
Yeah.
I must determine whether indeed, so I must work out my own thing and whether I've really received Christ
Yeah.
or I've just, because I grew up in a family where my parents are pastors.
Yeah.
So I went along because into Abazali.
Yeah.
And so when I got there, I stopped going to church. That's the first thing I did when I got to Wits. I stopped going to church. And I said, I just want to find myself. And if indeed Christ is my savior, then I'll go back to him. Right there in that moment, I start dating a girl. It's something I've never done before.
Beautiful.
So-
beautiful.
Oh, you even know that?
So I date this woman and we date, and all along my intention is to marry her, because we come from such a principled background
Values, yeah.
with
yeah.
values.
Yeah.
We're not playing here,
Yeah.
and she's saved. So I'm thinking I'm going to marry this woman.
Yeah.
So we build. I need to finish, of course, my degree, and I need to do my articles, and then I'm going to marry her. And I tell her as much, and she understands the journey is that. But then 2 years down the line, I call home and I tell them I need to come home. I'm done with this experiment that I was doing. I found myself, I need to come home. So I go back home, and in that period, the Lord says to me, and it's a long story, we can't get into it, otherwise
Yeah.
the entire
It'll be 3
entire
hours.
session would be
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
But the Lord speaks to me and shows me that she's not my wife.
Wow.
But I love her.
Yeah.
So I don't want to.
Akapractice ubuhle,
Ah,
muhle.
muhle, nyan, nyan.
So then I don't break up with her because I love her. But I know that she's not my wife.
Yeah.
The Lord has told me as much.
Yeah.
Then God, realizing how stubborn I am, sends her to come and break up with me.
Ama-Midianites, bamdampa umyeni wami,
Out of nowhere.
bamreleasa.
We were good on the Sunday.
Hey, uyathandaza u-
Uyabona?
Ncebekazi, uyathandaza, Ncebekazi.
Yabo.
I had nothing to do with that chapter.
Yo.
Ncebekazi, uyathandaza, yeah.
Bamdampa umyeni
So
wami.
wenzeni i-favour
Let my
kahle kahle.
people
Ungenzeli
go.
favor. So God is intentional.
Oh, wow.
And
And he was heartbroken. And how did you heal?
Was he heartbroken?
How did
though?
you heal through listening to?
okay. So interestingly enough,
Yeah.
I was heartbroken because it had been a long
Meaningful
relationship.
and-
Yeah.
And we were close to getting married because I was close to finishing varsity.
Yeah.
Now, it becomes hurtful. 2 weeks later, I'm driving now, going to do my articles. I still remember this vividly. I'm driving on the N12, driving a little red Fiesta, and I'm playing Joyous.
See the Lord.
Now the song, the
Scott,
funny
my
thing,
birthday.
the song simply says, He loves you. And the Holy Spirit hopped on the song.
Yeah.
And for the first time, a song that I'd known for so long,
Yeah.
just hit differently.
Just made sense.
Yeah.
And the scales in my eyes fell off, and I said, wait a minute. If the Lord loves you so much, how could you be heartbroken over a woman that He has told you is not your wife? And I was healed. So I called my older brother, and I said to him, dude, I'm healed. He says, awazodlala wena.
Hayi wena uzodlala ngathi.
Awazodlala uzolimala wena.
umshado.
Khalela ingane ngoba manje ulahliwe wena. Ubona ukuthi usenyameni lo. Doesn't understand the things of the spirit.
Yeah.
But so all I wanted to say is God is so intentional about marriage.
Yeah.
And many years down the line, and by the by, that lady had known, God had shown her so much of what would become of me
Oh, okay.
in the ministry and growing up and how the Lord would use me. So every time we would be together, she'd say to me, this thing here, I don't understand it because the Lord is going to use you to minister to people and many will be healed. Many will be saved through your ministry. And I'd say, as in, if you are bored now, you can go home.
Was that the reason she
Right.
broke up? She broke up with you.
That was not the reason.
Not.
It was a God
She was a
orchestrated.
prophetess. She was sent to be in the
So
capacity
she knew
of
the
a prophetess.
journey, but she was not going to be part of the journey.
The journey.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I hear that, but I'm saying, could it be that she realized
felt
that
daunted.
she's actually not part of that journey?
No, it wasn't that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that at all. She loved the Lord and she understood. She understood the journey I'd have to take. Hence, she encouraged me to go back to the Lord at the time when I was still at varsity. So many years down the line, a few years down the line, we get married. But what then translates from our marriage, from after our engagement even,
Yeah, all the things that she
then
had.
we realized that, geez, but God had to connect us together because of the journey that we're going to travel. So marriage is not you look good together.
Of course.
Marriage is not your couple goals. And we
Bigger
hear
than
that all
that.
the time. And we say, look, we are humbled that you think we are.
Yeah.
But we're not together because we're trying to be couple goals.
That
We're
was never
together
the
because
intention.
we're doing what the purpose of God is greater than us. And so we have found ourselves right in the middle of purpose.
Yeah.
And so our entire marriage is purpose.
Oh.
After we get engaged, my wife says to me, what has the Lord called you to do? What has He said to you? Engagement, Bafut.
Please tell us about that purpose.
Right? And,
I'm excited.
And I say to my wife, look, God has called us to minister, and I minister through the word.
Yeah.
Then I say to her, but we know in part.
Yeah.
And as time goes, God will reveal it.
unfold.
So immediately I say to her, what has the Lord said to you? She says, I'm also a minister in word, but I also know in part.
Yeah.
So then we come together during engagement, before even getting married, understanding that we carry a purpose that will require us to walk in tandem. Immediately. And so that's been the story of our lives. So marriage for us is exactly that.
Yeah.
So it's not just individual purpose.
Of course.
And a lot of people say, but we see you everywhere with your wife. How is it? And I say, because our purposes are interlinked.
Yes.
She can't walk without me, and I can't walk without her.
In fact, my husband is so special in terms of supporting the vision and the common purpose that we serve. I've heard him chat with some pastors where they're inviting him to come and minister in word. If I've got a ministry engagement, be it in song or especially in word, he will forgo that. He will, he believes so much in what God has planted and placed in me that he will decline those invitations and say,
wants to be there.
I'm going to go and support my wife while she's preaching. And then it's not typical of males because generally it's the role in reverse where I'm expected to be there
and support him,
sing maybe when he ascends and then he preaches, but seldom do you see instances where he will say, I'm going to decline an invite to minister in word because I want to go and sit under the ministry of my
That is
wife.
so good.
Do you know that? Sorry, I kind of picked that up when you were at church together. The way he was like so. I'm sorry, but you'll think he will go on stage and and sing too. You know what I mean? But I mean the support system that he was giving you was really you could tell.
That is so cool. And we always tell this, we always say this, the importance of purpose, that purpose is more important than the person you choose to marry.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because if the two of us aren't meeting around what God would have us do, then why are we even together?
That's right.
In actual fact, I strongly believe God puts people for a purpose.
Absolutely.
You said that others don't realize what the purpose is,
Yes.
but if you take time and dig deep,
Yes.
you'll be able to find what the purpose is.
And I think linked to that, really the scary thing is that people go into marriage without first discovering themselves.
There it is.
They don't know. So if the individual doesn't know his purpose or her purpose, they
Then
can't
it's
find
gonna
the
be very
purpose
difficult,
for the
yeah.
union. So then it's a failing equation. Okay, because nobody knows what
Nobody
the value of
knows.
X is. So once you know what the value of X is and you come in, then you realize that we're not competing. We're not competing.
Yes.
But we need each other in order to fulfill purpose.
Yeah.
So often we see pastors really kiss each other and pray over each other at the door and separate. The one is going to preach there and the other is going to preach there. But God has given us a slightly different purpose and how we do ministry. We do ministry as a family. You could invite me to preach, and when I'm done, she'll wrap up my message because I know what she carries. I know the grace upon her life. And I know that probably if anybody has heard what I was preaching about, it's her. Because my spirit and her spirit are connected. And the same happens with her. You'll invite her, she'll minister when she's done. Not the only person, but she understands that he knows from God what to do next. She's trusting God so much. She's not trusting me. She's trusting God so much that I know that God will tell him what is necessary in this equation. And so we go up with full reliance on God that now we are here and so we must fulfill the purpose. And so that's how we do marriage, and marriage has been beautiful because of that.
Because of it will be. There's no choice but because sorry, babe, just want to say this, then you'll it's interesting in Genesis, the Bible talks about God said, I will make him a suitable helper. And the often we would glance over the suitable.
We go to help her first
and we forget the fitting. Other versions use the word fitting. And sometimes we would go for available people instead of suitable people. Because available people may not necessarily be suitable.
Correct.
No, of course.
And that's why we would get married because you are available. And then, when the rubber meets the road, I can't handle this. You know what I'm saying? You crash. Because, guys, at the end of the day, God is not going to say, well done, thou good and faithful servant, you got married.
Yes.
It's well done, thou good and faithful servant. You've done that which I have called you to do.
There we go.
Do you get what I'm saying? That's purpose. And I wish that people would get a grasp of this you know, and how important it is that sometimes it goes to going back to the point that you guys raised earlier about getting married in the same church with people you're going to the same church. Sometimes we would friend zone people that we're supposed to be with.
Yeah.
You know,
happens
as well. And if you don't mind, you know, can we go there? You know, because we've got, again, sisters,
Yes.
you know, at church in general, very frustrated because there are no men, you know. But now, wait, there are men in here.
Oh, no.
There are men in here. You know what you were saying earlier on. You didn't want, you know. Can you talk to us about that? Just as well, just to encourage. It may not be the sisters. It's anybody who's single who is like, you know what, Angbon la, you know, and yet they are.
You know what's funny for me? I always speak to this, which is the fact that people would sooner trust butterflies in their tummies
Oh God.
with selecting a life partner, helping to select a life partner, than trusting God and His Spirit. And I always want to dispel the myth that God is only interested in you pastoring, He's interested in you singing on big stages. God is interested in the day-to-day because He knows that unless He infiltrates the small pockets of your thinking, which inform your decision-making, then the enemy can easily frustrate you in those areas, which then aborts purpose. So I always encourage ladies, you cannot, if you can pray for a job, this is funny, right? People will pray for a job, but people think that praying for a life partner is corny. It's the weirdest thing ever. Why would you think that
This
corny?
is your destiny.
Job
is not.
Of all the things that God is interested in, do you think He's more interested in you being a known worshiper than He is about the kind of husband that then makes it into your space, your private space, the space of your prayer? You know what I'm saying? God is interested, and God is romantic. That's another thing that I believe that I've found. He's very romantic. Like God is a perfect matchmaker.
No, He is.
Because based on your thinking, you will think that brother A, B, and C, and D, they fit the criteria, and they may not. And like me, you'll think that he doesn't fit the criteria. Like, I can never chill with that guy. He's wearing suits all the time. And then I'm like, duh, you see him in church all the time. That's why you only know him in suits. You haven't seen him outside church. You know what I'm saying? But God, His Spirit is the only that's able to dispel, you know, those things that limit you, where you're thinking He can't be the one, and He really is. So just be open to the Holy Spirit's leading. I promise you. And people think that we're giving them fairy tales. It's not fairy tales. Give it to the Holy Spirit. I can tell you instances where I almost married wrong, where I thought, that's the one. And God is like,
That's not the one.
That's not, like, I just sent you to be a prophetess there. I sent you for a word. Like, literally, I just needed you to see something, but it had nothing to do with your destiny. So all of those things, but it's the Holy Spirit, your friend, telling you that.
You just went to deliver a message.
Okay.
You know, there.
In fact, sometimes you're not even meant to go there.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a word. It was meant to be the word. Your word was meant to be what goes there into that situation. It had nothing to do with you, and that's that. So, but God will help you with those things. But I feel like people have boxed God into the Sunday deity, and that's why they find so much frustration. For me, even in terms of being a helper, I mean, I speak about this a lot. I'm the last born at home. I'm a feminist. I got to achieve very young. That's a recipe for disaster. Think about it. In terms of being a wife, that's a recipe for disaster, because you then have your own thinking patterns, and you may not be that amenable to submission, you know, those concepts. So literally, one of the things that I believe have helped us to get to 11 years tomorrow is the fact that I was honest with God.
Tomorrow,
and I said,
that's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Big things on the 3rd of May.
Very huge things on the 3rd of May.
Congratulations, but.
Congratulations,
Okay.
but. Your husband says to me, congrats, because I'm like, we can't be available on Saturday. He's like, congratulations, but. And I'm like, well, excuse you, sir. And then he tells me good news about you guys. I'm like, well, congratulations, but.
Yeah, congratulations, but.
Okay.
It was the fact that I
got married on a very beautiful day. Thank
lovely,
you.
a wonderful one. I was very honest with the Holy Spirit, and I said, bruh, unless you help me, I'm not even making it to a year. I don't have it in me. You know me. I'm from Tanzania.
I mean, already.
Already wrong. So you set the scene, and you help me, and daily I lean on Him. And guess what? Out of my friends group, as life would have it and ironies would have it, I'm the only one who cooks from a Sunday to Thursday. People are like, you're still cooking. And I'm like, and I enjoy it. I love it. I'm such a homemaker. I'm such a warm wife and mother and things. Even my brother, when he came home the very first time seeing me in an apron, he's like, hi, mtaka mama nguwe lo.
Can I tell you
Burst
something?
out laughing.
This is so amazing because I'm the last born at home. So
Pampered.
no.
Yeah.
When the disadvantage of being a last born, and we've always been talking about it, you are not allowed to grow.
Yes.
I remember at some point they will come to my house and my sisters will go like, "You cooked."
You cooked. Can
And
you
I'm
cook?
like, guys, how old am I?
I'm like, hey, look
Guys,
at
this
this.
thing was like such an issue. My brother will even say, "I can't believe you are able to. I mean, you can cook."
Yes. I don't see anything.
We got ordained a few days ago.
We know the oil is
Spiritual
fresh. The oil is fresh.
Very fresh oil.
Guys, your family even get to a point to say,
You.
Yes.
Mfundisi.
"How did we get here?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, it's amazing what God is able to do. I'm just taken by that thing that you people knew you as someone who cannot cook, but because you love the person that you are with,
Yeah, I love
you don't
serving.
feel it's a task.
At all.
You just, I want us to talk about submission because there's something that I love how you describe submission. Because a lot of young couples, married couples, there's an issue with submission. They always look at it as,
A yoke.
I'm beneath you. And I'm doing so well career-wise. Why should I submit? Please talk us through that.
Well, for me, right, because I believe in the headship of Christ, and I
Yeah.
think that's where it starts, right?
Yes, ma'am.
If I believe in the headship of Christ and his position, rightful position within the body of Christ,
Yeah.
within which I exist, then I have to because you can't take one side of the coin and love it, which says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loves the church. So,
church.
yeah,
We
I
love
love that.
that.
And then the other side, which then speaks about submission.
The direct, yes.
Then I have an issue with it because that would make me a hypocrite.
Yeah.
So I take the full package because it's like he loves me as Christ loves the church.
God.
Right? And I don't want to make this sound conditional, right? Because I know that there can be theological issues with that of saying, if he didn't love me as Christ loves the church, then I wouldn't
Then I
submit.
won't.
I don't know what I would do, but what I do know is that I am a subject of God's instruction because it's brought so much fruitfulness to my life. I've got a beautiful life. Like I wake up and I laugh because, and I found that fruit through following his instructions.
Yeah.
And I found that submitting to him, and he's such a pleasure. He's such a kind man as well. And he, we don't talk about the other side of the verse, which is submit to one another.
Yeah.
That's literally our dynamic. So then there's no tag where you find that I will suspend my selfish desires, and he's doing the same thing. Somehow, I don't know, there's something beautiful happens there. So it's never been an issue, although in the very first year, oh, jeez.
I was going to ask you about when I got to bubu better.
Not us, not us. Sixabana nge. I loved travel, as you know,
Yes.
right? So first year of our marriage, so when we came back from our honeymoon, which was in Miami, I asked him, "What do you want to do with your career?" And he told
In fact,
me,
you
he
asked
wants
me while we were in Miami.
while we're
Okay,
there, and I said,
yes.
"What do you want to do?" And he said, "I want to open up my own chambers, like my own practice." And I said, "No, then great. When we get back, work on resigning from your job so that you can work on
fulfill that.
So literally, then the very first next year, which was 2015, so he's without a job, he's without an income, and so here I am, and I'm like, dude, imali khona, masiye New York, and my husband Zulu, boom.
Ngihambe nomfazi ozokhokhela i-trip.
Angeke ngihambe, cha mfazi.
Kodwa.
Uzovela asuthe.
Humble.
Usamleka kanjani?
Humble.
And I'm like, guy, and I
Umane usineke lapho ungazi ukuthi ukhokhele ngani la ekhaya.
took genuine offense because I thought we were in this together, and I haven't broken my travel rule for years, and I don't see why we shouldn't. Because so it was, and then I got over it, and then he was like, "Trust me, when I'm done setting up, I'll take you anywhere you want to go. Just be patient. And I understand now God was developing aspects because akukho lula ungaye endaweni ikhona.
Yes, I mean,
Yes.
But we submit because and by the way, he did say you can go with your friends, and I was like,
won't be the same.
It won't be the same. Yeah, but eventually, then when things had settled, then he really then showed me all of those things. But yeah, so that aspect of, but we in it together. Why can't we? I had to learn that there's also submission in not trying to spoil somebody with things he hasn't asked for.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But also on that topic of submission, I believe that in certain instances, not all,
Yeah.
it can be hard to submit where the concept of submission is being abused.
That's true.
Of course.
That's true.
So
It shouldn't be.
per definition, if the person you are with takes it to the extreme, it will become hard
Yes, sir.
for the woman or the wife to submit or subject themselves. Remember, as my wife says, that the Godhead,
Yeah.
the Bible is very clear
Yeah.
that it's Christ, it's the man.
Yeah.
And so if we look at Christ as a leader, full of love, full of compassion,
Persuasion.
full
Exactly.
of empathy, persuasion, come, let us reason together, you know, all of those things. And so when you begin to lead your home outside
That
of
framework.
that blueprint,
Actually,
Because
yeah.
submission is not abuse.
No,
it's
I
not.
think that's
Not.
that's where we need to start.
it's not.
Because when it's made to feel like abuse,
Yeah.
then there's a problem.
Then there's a big problem.
Because even when we submit to Christ, it doesn't feel like abuse.
No, it's natural.
It's natural. Why does it have to feel like abuse when we're
natural.
submitting as
Yes.
husband and wife?
So I believe it's that. We more often than not, part of loving your wife as Christ loved the church is that the man must die to himself daily.
Oh, God.
He must die to his ungodly standards.
Yeah. Ego
You know,
and all of
forgiveness must be part of the package. You see,
Yeah.
per the Bible, between the two in marriage, the man must master forgiveness
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
that's how Christ
Yeah.
loved the church. He
Forgives us
masters forgiveness. He forgives us every day.
Yeah.
So a man who can't forgive, whether justified or unjustified, cannot love. And if he cannot love, then there can be no synergy in the marriage. There can be no peace in the marriage. It's doomed for failure.
Yeah.
Right. So when the man loves as Christ did, the woman will submit, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem. And we're not saying she must submit conditionally.
Yeah.
Because in certain other instances, it's your submission that will actually bring your husband to Christ.
That's what the book says.
You know?
That's what
So,
the book says.
so yes, we understand that submission can come from different aspects.
Yeah.
But we encourage man, love your wives properly.
Yeah.
Be
And love them
kind.
loudly.
Yeah.
And love them proudly.
I also believe that you will be able to understand this if, as a man, you are submitted somewhere.
Yes.
Certainly.
Because I really feel that, I'm sorry to say this, if you don't understand the submission from a Christ level, then we're gonna have a problem with submission from a human level because
It's a foreign concept.
you also you don't even know what the other one means.
Yeah. Correct.
So how am I gonna submit to that? Whoa,
Because
this is
the other thing about this is that, sometimes when we take this concept and make it a burden,
Yes.
right? It becomes a burden.
It becomes.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Because burden naturally it's not easy.
Yes.
It's not light.
Yeah.
Only Christ's burden is light.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? His yoke is easy. Here's the thing. With me as a human being, if I look at this whole concept from an identity point of view,
Yes.
right? Where you work, that's where you work. That's not you.
That's right.
That's not you are there to perform a task, and after that you go home.
That's right.
That doesn't speak to who you are in terms of your identity as how God created you to be. Submission, it really is a role, You know, same thing as the headship is a role. It does. God created us equal.
That's right.
And that's so important to mention that we're equal. In our DNA, there is no one who is better than the other. You know, we're equal. We are created. The Bible actually said, male and female created he them.
That's right.
So the coming of Eve, or the entrance of Eve on the scene, you know, it was not that Eve was only created then.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, the Bible
She
used the
was
word
just
formed.
formed, yeah.
The issue is we're there, both of us. No one is better than the other.
That's right.
Correct.
No one is superior to the other.
The roles and functions are just
There it
different,
is.
and that's
Yes.
just it,
There
right? And I
it
think
is.
partnership in its very sense,
Yes.
you know,
They complement
implies
each other.
equality.
Yes.
It's
But the
complementary.
roles,
It is.
yes.
Complementary.
Because I love that, because I think we were speaking somewhere a few days ago, and people were almost like, actually, this is just for us so that the marriage looks good. So there's a role that you play, the role that he
Yes,
plays,
yes.
and I even sometimes go further to say, guys, God is clever. Imagine. God cannot have two heads
Yes.
No, it wouldn't make sense.
in
He's
a
a freak.
relationship, because now we're going to be clashing.
Of nature.
Don't be afraid.
No, honestly.
Yeah.
God cannot have, he cannot say, no, you both submit in this. And he knew that in order for this thing to look as good as it does now, you need to play your part,
Yes.
and you play your part. So basically, this whole, it's us playing our roles
Yes.
more than who is better.
Pindi, it informs functionality.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's functions.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Two heads, no function.
Two has no function.
Yeah.
Actually,
We're
always-
butting heads all the
Yeah,
time.
you will.
Isn't that like a monster?
That's a
is.
freak.
Yeah. Where?
Oh my word, guys, this is so
You know,
beautiful.
I always think of the system. You know, the entire system in terms of how the world functions.
Yes.
It's when you think of function, when you think of roles, it's really the world functions better where there are systems, there are processes.
Clear.
Yes.
You know, there's you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
They take a car.
Yeah.
The reason a car has one steering wheel is so that there is a driver.
That's
Bingo.
right.
And then the other one is on the passenger seat.
That's right.
You know what I mean? There's one. Whoever made the car and who came up with the concept, you know, of
Already
making
knew
a car,
the concept
we
of,
can't have two steering wheels.
Yes.
But also, guys, just like your spouse. Can people just like
I
their
mean,
spouses?
yes.
Because think about it in the context of friendships, right? You have sometimes that group of friends, and there's that one friend whose ideas are
Yeah.
typically followed.
Yeah.
He or she says, okay, let's go there. And you go,
Yes, yes.
why does it have to be like, why do you have to overthink it when it's your spouse? It's because maybe there's a deficiency of liking them.
Yeah.
But if you actually like, when you like a person and you are kind to them and you trust them as well,
That's
right? Then it becomes an easy thing. It doesn't become a tug every time. There's be a debate or we must, cast something, rock, paper, scissors.
Yes, who is it gonna be?
The same way
Yeah.
when your friend suggests that you go to Bali and you're like, oh, good
Actually,
idea.
that's a good idea.
Just like your husband, man.
Yeah.
Like your husband. I pray he's likable.
better be like a
Well, the
Better
fact that you
likable.
are with them, let's assume they are
hope.
likable.
there was a point
you
at
know what?
least when
Yeah.
you liked
Oh,
them.
guys.
Let's work on
You know, I must tell you, thinking about
I
this thing
like
as
you.
my
I
wife
like
is
you a
talking-
lot.
I like you
I
too,
like you a
man.
lot, bro.
Oh, you do.
Like you, man.
You do. But you know what,
I like
guys?
it.
I like how we are making this so relatable, because
Liked as well.
I think for me, honestly speaking, sometimes I look at this and I'm like, does it have to be so hard?
Yeah.
You know, because I let me be honest, in the beginning when we first met, I think the first 3 years of our marriage, I got to a point I was like, you know, it was difficult to submit.
Last bonds.
It was difficult because I think you at that time you also kind of feel like it's a power struggle thing. I can do this. Why does it have to be you? Until you get to a point where you actually like, you know what? Can I just chill about this?
Just like
It's
relax.
like it's not a It's not that deep.
It's not a
You know?
competition.
2016 April, I'm 8 months pregnant.
Yeah.
May fully, like almost like
Yeah.
giving birth the next month. And we'd moved into a new apartment because we needed to find a lower space. And there I am standing on a chair, putting up curtains.
Yeah.
And it's like, sis, ngizwile ukuthi independent woman. Ingane yami. And then I was like, really? Like, why am I not resting? Let me just rest. And I've been just enjoying that rest ever
We've
since.
been resting.
Been resting.
Hey guys,
sis.
mina ngifisa ukumtshela guys umuntu ophosa this thing. Yes, sometimes ukurelax nje.
Relax,
Yes,
Nje.
maybe we're going this way. You're like, yeah, no, it's fine.
Asambe.
Relax.
It's more
Nje.
peaceful. You fight less.
You fight less. There's actually an aspect, it's just that we're out of time, where I found that God, opened financial doors for us. Before then, because I was a 50-50 woman, I can, you can, bring 50, I bring 50. And then he
Yes.
came and he said, no, Faz, really, please don't bring your 50. And I insisted.
Yeah.
I insisted.
I want
ne?
you to know what I
I
have my
insisted
50.
for a good 6-7 months. I've never been one who's broke. Suddenly things happened to my finances. I suddenly
Mameli, that's
had
why.
issues in my finances, and I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? I've got enough, and I looked at my pay slip. I've got enough money. I've got different sources of income. Why am I running out of money, right? And then eventually God said, it's because you are defying
Oh God.
what your husband wants to give you. You are defying. Then I surrendered. It was a teary affair. I said, never again. I'm sorry. We don't have to do 50-50 on anything. You do the things that you want to do. That day, I knew financial prosperity again. So
Bounce back.
it
Yeah.
returned
block
back
your-
to my
you can
life.
block-
And I was like, hey, imali yami ingaka. Imnandi kangaka. I was blocking our next level as a family by stubbornly upholding virtues of the world. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with 50-50, but I'm saying what your husband is saying, I
Yes,
want to
I
take care
wanna.
of all of you, and you want to say,
Everything.
yeah, but
Keep
single
insisting.
ladies, the single ladies, let's go 50-50. I'm Beyonce, but this
Yeah.
God's rules that govern what must happen here. And literally from there, God then just like opened the floodgates because there was submission and there was leadership in the home. And so he could bless it.
Guys,
I mean, sorry, Pindi. As my wife says that, this whole submission and loving properly is a divine order,
yes.
God.
and so it must be established.
Oh God.
It's divine.
Things are going to start flowing.
You don't have to like it.
Yeah.
It's divine.
Yes.
If only you shall do it.
Yeah.
Then you shall reap the benefits of it. The truth of the matter, and a lot of people don't know this, that wives in their submitted roles actually lead us more often than not.
Jeez.
More often.
Preach that. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And I'll make a silly example. My wife, after buying our first home, says to me, as we move in, guys, wives, nyala wena. She says to me, how long will we live here? It's an amazing house. She says, how long will we live
Yeah.
here? Nami, I
You find yourself answering that.
I give an advocate's answer.
Yeah.
You need to know we shall review after 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, Ncebekazi.
So 5 years, meal.
5 years comes during COVID, guys.
Yeah.
We are all at home, lockdown. Ne?
Yeah.
She's working
5
from
years.
the bedroom, I'm working from the study.
Yeah.
I get up, I come into the room, ngifuna ukumbingelela nje ngihlale naye. Go into.
Akudlalwa nami.
Yabona. Mangifika lapha umuntu busy, property 24.
Yeah. 5 years, man.
5 years. 5 year mark must ufikile.
So I'm stunned. Ngithi mina, what's happening? Auntie, 5 years. Ngithi mina,
She's been counting.
I
It's
said
COVID.
we will review. No, but we will review,
And we're
not we
just
will
renovating.
buy.
First you said we shall review, not that we will.
We shall. Yeah, thank you. Biblical language too.
So, guys, long story short, do we not buy our house a month
During
later,
COVID.
a second one,
Oh Lord.
During
without
COVID.
without
Great.
selling the first one?
Yeah.
Why? Because she's leading.
Yeah.
But
That's so
because
good.
she's leading from a submitted role,
That's so good.
Only do 5 years.
the head has got no problem.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Ngoba
go.
uthe wena.
Simple as
Wena
that.
uNkulunkulu
Baba uthe.
uthe wena
Yeah.
baba.
So a
Oh,
wife is
man.
more powerful and more strong in a submitted role
That's so
In
good.
actual fact, do you
Rather
know,
than
She
in a
gets
head
more
roll.
than
do you
what
know,
she,
do you know
she
that
gets-
that's why God gave the role of submission to a woman? Because I truly believe that role is the most powerful. Having to submit to somebody, you've got to be a very powerful person.
Yeah.
Hey,
So I look at it, Mina, from this level. Ukuthi, hey, man, submit, Hashem.
Awu.
Ave kumnandi ukusubmit, guys.
Gwema amandla wami.
Okay, guys, we have to close.
oh my goodness.
Zikhale
Oh,
zakhala,
Wait, guys, you
zakhala,
haven't asked us
zakhala.
anything on your...
No.
Zakhala.
Guys, we need to do another one.
yeah.
Asikhulumanga ngomusic.
I
thought we'll talk about ministry.
Actually, can I tell you? I knew it.
Guys,
I knew Gucci, we're not going to go to the music.
Of course, the pony saw it coming.
no. But guys, on a serious note, I
I
think
knew we were going to
you guys
go.
have messed up this interview.
You guys
This was meant to
No,
be.
zingane zashaka.
No.
Zingane zikashaka.
This was meant to be a professional, like, tell us about yourself,
you know.
kind of interview. But guys, these guys just came in and this went a different direction. But guys, nonetheless, thank you so much.
Before you say thank you so much,
I've never seen an interview like this. But
this has been one of the most enjoyable
man.
conversations. Relaxed.
Siyabonga.
We didn't even look here.
going everywhere.
We didn't even
Oh
look
my word, I
here.
didn't even get to say umfazo qoto.
You know.
Indoda nogqozi.
You know.
I was ready like with serious Zulu words here.
We didn't, but
No, guys.
but-
You owe us a proper interview.
but we do one of those shout outs to the 37th Psalm.
Amen.
Oh, yes.
I want to give a shout out to the 37th Psalm, 23rd May, and oh my God, tickets are in order.
Yeah.
Ayabanda.
Oh, man.
Ayabanda. So we're definitely going to be there, and we really hope that you have your ticket already at Empress Palace. It's a Friday. We begin a weekend. Gendumiso.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Sure.
All right,
And,
you
we're
guys.
looking forward to it. We really are excited about it. We
so
follow you guys. We look, the rehearsals and everything. It's really, really, really awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and we hope that, as Pindi was saying, that you guys
Yeah.
will heed the second call.
I feel nab. I feel like nab. I wasn't feeling good, but guys.
Kuphelile ngala hlobo.
Sifuna za questions. Sifuna za questions. Zamurindo. A tree died so that this be printed.
I'm like, how the ministry began for you.
You know,
Oh, man.
we didn't even get to play the game.
No.
Oh, there's a game to honor. Can we play the game?
Guys, I wish it was 30 seconds so that they could go crying for their mama. Eh, boo? Eh?
Oh, yeah, such
They'd
a
be
bad
crying for their
combination.
mama.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please forgive our guests.
Yeah, forgive our guests.
They don't know what they're doing.
Lord have mercy. Siphume pasi game.
We love you guys so much. Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
And thank you for subscribing. And I think keep on subscribing.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, we love and appreciate you so much.
And that is Love, Marriage, and Family Podcast. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you to our guest for part 1. And we're going to have part 2 when we ask these questions.
I think part 2 is also as well.
No, part 2 is like, question 1.
So, Jaima, don't ask that.
Like, where were you born? We love you guys.
We love you
Thank you for
guys.
having us.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much.
having us.
Thank you so much.